Respected him, and I still do sometimes think he was I feel he was the guy that got the airplane deal up here to Seattle at that time. Got that
You think he was
250.
D.B. Cooper?
Yeah,
He looked just like him, didn't he?
looked just like him. What happened was right after that happened, Bob Snyder. He worked with Bob Snyder and me too. See.
Okay.
And he says, and we went to lunch and we seen his paper. He says, "You know who that looks like?" I said, "Well, geez, it looks like Les Gibson to me." And Bob says, "Well, he sure as hell does to me too. Looks exactly like him." Well, so we got to thinking about him and I later, and we never did do nothing about it. But later on, he was a Sharpie. He was a real Sharpie. And eventually he went to Reno as a card sharp.
Oh.
But anyway, not only that, he spent a lot of time down at the fishing down here where they found the money.
Really?
Yeah, he spent a lot of time down there.
So he might have buried the money there, huh?
Well, we don't know. That's just how Bob and I put the thing together, that we still feel. And on top of that, years ago, before he ever went into service, he had went to school to learn how to be a
Parachute guy?
parachute dive guy.
Oh.
See, all them 3 or 4 things makes Bob and I think that it could have been him.
You know, when you said that, I can remember how he had his hair moved back and his thin face.
Yeah.
Looked just like the guy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's interesting. Well, you know, one other thing I would want to get, because we're almost up to the present, but I wanted to talk about the gyrocopter stuff a little bit. Why in the world would you want to do a gyrocopter thing?
I still want to.
You still want
In
to?
fact, I've got 3 airplanes right now that I'm just learning to fly with right now.
Wow.
And I'm going to
Well,
get.
do you remember when you were in the Navy, you wanted to be in the air, right?
Yeah.
Even back then, did you
Yeah.
ever get a pilot's license?
Oh yeah.
You did?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a pilot's license from Wally over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I bet Mom wasn't too keen on that stuff.
I went up one time with her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Leroy had a plane too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
For a while.
But I wasn't keen for actually flying myself. It was just a waste of time flying around. But
Oh yeah.
I flew a little bit, and I quit it because you either got to stay on top of it or get off
Right,
of it. You can't
right.
horse around.
Hmm.
Do it every once in a while, thinking of knowing what you might do, you know.
Yeah, no, it'd be dangerous.
But
All right, so tell me about the gyrocopter thing. You bought a kit from Hill.
well,
or
anyway, I
somewhere?
just always got interested in helicopters, and we seen this type that they made by hand, and a friend of mine over in not Yakima, but over here in Yakima, owned one. And he says, "Well, he says, I'm a pilot, and I've got one there that I fly a little bit myself if you want to fly it." So I borrowed it. I brought it over here, and Raymond and I decided we wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I let Raymond. I had the license. Raymond never did anything. Well, he got on a thing, and we kept flying and experimenting on the ground, you know. And finally, he says, "You know, I'm getting sick of this playing around." He says, "Horsing around." He says, "I'm going to show you how to fly this thing." He says, "You watch this." He says, "I'm going to take this sucker off, and you watch me." And I says, "Okay."
So you were pulling it behind the car with the rope?
Oh hell no, we're playing it by itself.
Okay, flying it by itself.
It had a 90 horse engine on it. It had lots of power.
Okay.
That thing would just go like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, Raymond gets on it, and he takes off, and he winds that baby up, and he starts off like that, and he gets up about 30 feet high or 40 feet, and going beautiful. All of a sudden, it started going cockeyed like this. Well, that scared him. He couldn't think fast enough how to straighten it out. All he had to do was step on the gas and give it a little aileron, you know, to straighten it out.
Rudder, yeah.
When he got scared, he pulled his steel back, which unloaded all his load from his rotor blade up there. Down it come about 40 feet high, probably going about 50 miles an hour. He hits that thing and it just blows up. This stuff blowed up all over.
Jeez.
Wrecked the rotor blade, and we had to fix it back up to give it to the guy. You know?
Oh, jeez.
But Raymond got a little crick out of his neck, you know. But,
Yeah.
But we just quit it.
So you quit that deal.
Yeah.
And then I know before that, when I was a kid, you used to know Morse code from the Navy, and you used to do the ham radio stuff a lot too. And I remember I remember hearing Sputnik when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, I still got a tape of that somewhere. But
A tape of it going beep,
Yeah,
beep,
yeah, I got
beep.
the tape of that.
That might be valuable. You never know.
Yeah.
I bet there aren't too many of those
I was
laying
looking
around.
here a while back, kind of looking for it. I got it sitting around somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, no, I'd spent a lot of time on the radio. Remember how time I spent with Harold and remember the radio guys over there in Portland?
Oh yeah, Campbell and
Lee Campbell
Lee Campbell
and Harold
Paulette and
Harold. Forget his last name.
yeah, I do too.
Paulette was his wife's name,
Right.
and he had a daughter named Judy.
Yeah.
But anyway, he got me all through the radio going, and I worked all the way around the world on my radio. Remember, I had a pole out there
Right,
and had a
right,
deal out
right,
there.
right. Okay, well, we're going to wrap this up. We got two or 3 minutes left. All right, so you opened your own real estate office, and you got up to 4 or 5 offices. You got 40, 50 salespeople. You retired in like 1980, and then what'd you do after you quit the real estate?
Oh, I just had my offices, and then
You had your rentals too, because you developed the 20 acres.
I put in the 50 houses out there, but I think I wound up with about 9 or 10 of them.
As rentals.
Yeah. And
then you started traveling. Someday we might do another tape about your travels, because you went all over the place.
Yeah, we went somewhere every year.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, Dad, thank you for sitting down and answering a few old-time questions, and you're going to think up of more stuff. So we might, in a few months, try this again, and you can add in the stuff we forgot about.
Special things that found out. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then the next tape, you can tell them what a great firstborn. You can tell them what a great firstborn son you had too.
Yeah. You can probably find all that stuff in my tapes up there.
Yep.
Because there's 100 tapes there, and all our whole life is in there.
Okay, we're signing off for this episode. And just hang on the edge of your seats for the next one. It'll be coming up soon.
Come back for the next 10 years.